Hi guys, so I have been using the Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra for about a week now, and I have the Indian Exynos variant. So have the software updates really improved the device? Let's find out. But before we get on with the full review, let's quickly check out the unboxing. Now first, let's talk about the design of this device. This is a massive device, but the device itself isn't an issue. You see, the thing is, when you put on a case, that is when the device actually becomes bulkier. I must say that the case provided in the box is pretty good. It's very sturdy. It covers the camera bump on all sides and also covers the screen with raised edges on all sides. But without the case, the device feels surprisingly comfortable to hold and operate. The color and design gives it kind of a sophisticated and business feel, but it does feel delicate, so I would suggest putting the case on. With that being said, I have already dropped it a couple of times with no scratches so far. The camera bump does interfere sometimes, but you'll get used to it. Now let's talk about the screen. This device has a massive 6.9-inch screen, and although it isn't that exciting, it is super capable and the viewing experience has been pleasant so far. Now let's talk about the 120Hz refresh rate. Well, I'm coming from a 60Hz Pixel 2 XL, and I must say Android 10 itself has become very much smooth with its UI and gestures. So yes, the 120Hz does feel smooth, but it isn't ultra smooth. And maybe this is just me, but 60Hz mode on this phone feels a little laggier than other devices. Well, maybe that would be just due to the bigger screen size, or maybe Samsung wants you to use that 120Hz mode. Now let's talk about the fingerprint scanner. Well, the fingerprint scanner is okay-ish. It's very small and I'm still getting used to its placement, and it requires you to press harder each and every time. Talking about the UI, this phone runs on One UI 2.1. And I must say I'm impressed with One UI. You can really tweak your device as per your liking, and there are a lot of customization features. But one thing I wanted to highlight, like, why do we need to pay extra for so many themes and wallpapers out there? I might be nitpicking here, but I think I can. Now let's talk about the battery of this phone. This phone has a massive 5000 mAh battery. But does it feel so? Well, if you put the device on high performance mode and 120Hz mode on, it actually got me charging just in half a day. And if you do believe in screen on time, it would be around 2 to 3 hours, which is not that impressive. But using the optimized mode and the 120Hz mode on, I can easily get through the day. And screen on time, if you believe in it, would be around 5 to 6 hours. And I'm so glad that Samsung has that maximum power saving mode. I had turned on that mode late at night, and when I checked in the morning, the battery had just dropped by about 1%, which actually led me to believe the estimated time that it showed on the screen, that was of 2 days. It's really great for those emergency situations. Now let's talk about the processor that this phone uses. Well, we all know it uses the Exynos 990 variant, and there has been a lot of controversy and discussions about it. Although it is clear that the Snapdragon version is more efficient and more powerful, but I don't really feel like I'm missing something here. Now I edit photos and videos and also play some heavy games, and I think this phone can take whatever you throw at it. Regarding heating up issues, well, they are not consistent. To say, sometimes I would play heavy games for about 15 to 20 minutes and the phone wouldn't warm up at all. And sometimes I'm just scrolling through the UI and it would warm up. So maybe this would be fixed by future software updates. Now let's talk cameras. Front camera first. Well, the 2.2 aperture means a smaller punch hole this time, but it lets in lot less light now. So low light selfies are not that good. And for some reason, the night mode on the front camera does not work that well. Having said that, when there is ample of light, it captures a lot of details, and the videos coming out of this front camera are really good. In fact, I'm recording this video right now with this camera. Talking about the back cameras now, which are the main highlight of this phone. So let's first touch base with the 108 megapixel mode. To be honest, I did not use it that much and I still don't. I'm pretty much happy with the 12 megapixel mode, which captures a lot of detail and captures in a lot of light. But do keep in mind, it does have a natural shallow depth of field, but it has a very narrow plane of focus. So macro shots are not that great. Well, this is where the other plus point of this camera comes in, the zoom cameras. So if you want to take macro shots, I just use the 2x zoom camera and it gives me impressive shots. Speaking of zoom, the 100x zoom does give you an oil painting, but I must admit, the 30x zoom is pretty cool and 10x zoom is postable. The ultra wide has definitely improved. Previously, I used the Samsung S10e, and now there is a lot less distortion at the edges and also captures a lot of details. One thing I'm really impressed with is the night mode on the back cameras. It does over sharpen and pop the colors a bit, but it does look great. Pretty much at the level of the pixels now. The autofocus has improved with software updates, but it is still different. It's not as smooth as the iPhone is, but you'll see when I show the samples on screen now. Now let's get to the conclusion. So if you won't regret spending so much on a phone, well, I think then you will really enjoy this device. Because sure, no piece of technology is perfect, but it does get the job done. And in most aspects, this device does feel ultra. So let me know if you have any questions in the comment section and I'll make sure I answer your queries. Do subscribe and like this video. I'll be putting up more such videos.